Hello, hello, hello! It's Father Aaron, the Dungeon Minister, and welcome to a live stream crafting. Now, this thing is still making noise. I told it not to. It doesn't seem to listen to me. See what I can do here. Oh! Well, there's another auspicious beginning to one of my live streams. I always like to begin with a little catastrophe. How are people doing tonight? Huh? Is everything going all right? Okay, that ought to cancel that out. That ought to cancel that out. How are things going out there? Howdy, Robert. Hello, Grumpy, and hello, John Stewart. I thought about that myself, actually, John. The Cavalry distinction, but we won't be calling in the Cavalry until Good Friday. So, so it's all good. It's all good. There we are. If you can't, what you can't see is me fussing around on the other side here, getting this little tripod in place. It's a bit of a mess. I've got to get a better system rigged up. One thing I did the other day, I used a different, this phone does not have a headphone jack. I hate those. Hello, General Nut. Tail of the Man. John, I was just listening to your latest Tale of the Manticore. I didn't have time to finish it before the time came, so I'm going to get back to that. They had pried open, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but they pried open the tile, and the elf had gone down. And working on some thumbnails. Oh, mine are looking pretty good. Hello, Mark. Hello. Good evening to you as well. So I am going to get back. I'll get back to it. But yes, I was just doing that, and then I looked at the time. I said, "Oh no," which is always what happens. It's sort of an "oh no" every time I do one of these. You'd think I would learn and make it for 10:30 or something, but that's a little too late. So I know the title says "Call in the Cavalry" or the Cavalry, one of the two. But I went to I had taken a picture of one of the Cavalry that I was planning to paint tonight, and I have to say, looking at it, the one I pulled out was fine, but the other ones were, I rattle canned them to prime them. I know, a sin against mini painting, but just to get a base coat, I just real light with a rattle can. I did it a little too light, though. The undersides, the bellies hadn't been primed. There were spots inside the legs, etc., near the belly, near the body, where the priming didn't show up. And so it just didn't catch. And anywhere where there's a fold. So I reprimed them. And here's one of them. But they're still tacky. Not as in bad taste. They're in perfectly good taste. They're just, tacky. So I don't want to paint over that. I don't know what it would do, but I don't want to find out. So the Cavalry are going to wait till next time, which will be in 2 weeks' time. I've made a schedule. I'll talk about that in a bit. So in the meantime, what I'm doing instead is finishing up what we had done last time. I made a couple pieces of terrain, and I'm going to paint those tonight instead. So I'm sorry if you were really hoping to see mini painting. My apologies. But I did. You know what, Robert? I absolutely did that. I put it back. I put it back underneath my. There's a whole bunch of stuff stuffed under this desk. But I did just that. And you open up the flaps, and you just it contains the paint nicely. I'm with you there. We're thinking alike. Yeah, GriffCon is this coming weekend, John. This coming weekend, so you could still make it out if you wanted to. Yeah, it's this coming weekend. I am going to get a little more light here. Oh, that washes me out, but then that's my Scottish heritage. And I'm going to turn this up so that I get good light on the model. Shift the camera a little. Yes, GriffCon is coming up this Friday. I'm going to be there. And I think I may go back for the Saturday mid to late morning. There's a bunch of scheduling stuff in the weekend that my wife works. We only have one car. There are violin lessons. There is my wife going to work. Hello, RPG Dad. So between all of those things, I'm not going to be able to just attend the con full time. But I will go there enough to report back and say hello to people, and which is what my purpose, my whole point in going was just to really show the flag and meet people. And I'm not going to play in a game. I thought I would. I actually signed up for something and I had to ditch my sign up. Somebody else snapped the spot up, so no problem there. No one's out a player. It didn't take more than about half a day, and someone snapped up the spot. But yeah, I just can't. I can't manage the. I can't manage to do a game in addition to everything else. So, how's everyone's week going? It is icing and freezing rain outside. It started snowing today, which I thought was like, I thought we were done with this, right? But it came in big in the early afternoon. And I saw it coming down. I thought, oh no, this is going to just, swamp stuff. And I ended up canceling. We had a Wednesday evening liturgy for kids. And we ended up canceling it because the roads were just awful. And I didn't particularly want to go back and forth because I'd have to do it. I have to go back and forth for it. So I canceled that, and but it's pretty nasty out there. The trees are all covered in. I mean, it's pretty. The trees are all covered in ice, which is always a good look. But how is it where you are? And I know some of you are in sunny places, and some of you are also in cold places. Key West. Wow. That is remind me, Rabowski, where are you driving back to from Key West? Well, yes, Grumpy, you are in Montreal. I think Montreal is, that's French for lousy weather, isn't it? I think. I can never keep track of where everybody is. Southern California. That's yeah. The locals dressing for the cold in California. What does that even mean? I don't understand. I'm just going to base it in black to start with. It's what I usually do. I know some people base it with a Mod Podge and black combo. I put the Mod Podge on last. I have to use matte Mod Podge, otherwise I get too much sheen. But what that does for me is it protects the model, but it also protects the paint job. I feel like I once I've done this paint, I don't want to have to go back and touch it up. So I don't want the paint getting nicked up. So I will I'll protect the whole thing. So the Cavalry will get painted on the next one. So I was talking about good evening, Nordic. Good evening, Carl. Indiana. That is a long trip. Thank you, Undead Viking. Minnesota. I was mentioning earlier. If something happened to it. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Maybe we could help you out there. I actually, I have to say, I used AI for this. I asked Grok, which I am finding in terms of research is the best one. It doesn't do the best images, although sometimes it will surprise you. If you're playing around. The boys tonight, they wanted me to take a picture of the dog and take a picture of them and ask an AI to blend them. And I find Midjourney does that really well. But what Grok does well, I find, is researching things. That's its strong suit. And so I asked it what a good schedule for uploading to YouTube. And I described all the various kinds of things I would want to do. And an AC at 70. Yeah, no kidding. All the various kinds of things that I wanted to do. I want to do my standard bread and butter, the recap videos. Obviously, those have to be part of it, right? That's the main thing. I said I want to do live streams, maybe with some crafty stuff. That seems like, because just listening to me talk sounds boring. So hello, Magoo. Speaking of the dog. Yeah, right under the table, right under the desk. And so I thought, okay, so live streams, so the recap videos, live streams, doing crafts. I've recently started doing shorts. If you're subbed to the channel, you've probably noticed I started doing shorts, remixes of the videos, because I find in the current atmosphere on YouTube, nobody's like, the views are way down. People aren't seeing the videos. It's not even being shown. So I figure if I do a remix, it's just another way to engage people, and the remix specifically points back to the original video. I have to say, having been a viewer of shorts, it's a little hard to uncover where it links back. You got to it's just in text at the bottom of the screen, right? It's not real clear, but well, anyway. So I'm talking. So shorts are in there as well, and and just pre-recorded crafting videos. Yes, you do, RPG Dad. You gotta listen to Tale. So I thought, okay, what's the schedule going to be like? And I have to say, what Grok spat out sounds like a very good plan, but very ambitious, because it is a weekly recap. So I'm gonna need to make them shorter. They're gonna have to be more around the 20-minute mark than the 25 to 30. But recap videos, 3 times a week, a short coming out. I think I'm only going to do twice a week, at least to start with, because I haven't done them in the past, and so I don't want to just suddenly be flooding people's notifications with shorts, right? But I'm going to do one. I'll do a short every. I'm going to release videos for public consumption on Sundays. Patrons will get it, I think, Thursday, if I can manage Thursday or Friday. If I have a busy week and I just can't get it edited for the patrons on time, I can maybe Friday. But so Sunday a recap video, Monday a short remixed off of that recap video, so that as the initial wave of people watching it, people being shown it because it's new, as that trends down, the short comes out to point back to it. Wednesday evenings, first and third Wednesday evening of the month, a craftiness video, a craftiness live stream, like this being the first Wednesday of the month. I'm already on schedule. See how long that schedule lasts. But anyway, then Fridays, another short, maybe a remix of the craftiness if it's worth remixing. I mean, I don't know, this may not be worth remixing, frankly, but then if not, then some other random topic. Like this week I'll do a short about GriffCon, obviously. And then on the weekend, if I have, Grog was saying on the weekend, then on the Saturday do a pre-recorded crafting video. I can't do that every week. I don't do that much crafting, and so I'm not going to be able to with that kind of frequency. But somewhere in that vicinity, maybe what I'll do is alternate my recaps, maybe once a month instead of the recap. Just do we do a craft once a month in place of the recap. So yes, a fast time lapse. The thing about that though, Robowski, is that it when you do the remix, it's a real limited. Now, I suspect there's probably software out there to do shorts with, but if you just use YouTube's phone app, the remix options are not extensive. They're not extensive. It's clunky, and I've got fat enough fingers that trying to do it on my phone, which is the only way to do it. You can't do shorts on the desktop. At least I can't. I haven't found a way to do it. But trying to cut the thing. It has a limited number of editing options, and unfortunately, speedrun is not one of them. Because that would be a good idea. That would be a very good idea. It's just not a thing they do. So anyway, that's the basic. And then of course, what that then demands is behind the scenes, another schedule is developed, which is we had been at one point we played every Sunday, and it got much more infrequent, mostly when Fleetwood went to high school. Well, personally, it was every Sunday, and then it changed around because some Sundays my wife would work, so Faux Fire wouldn't be there. Some Sundays, there was something going on I couldn't do. So we got much more irregular. But I want to get back to a more regular game. So we're going to play Sundays, and we'll just work around my my wife's work schedule. And then so playing Sundays, recording. I won't record until the Thursday because that'll give me time to kind of make notes if I want to. I don't usually make notes, but sometimes, occasionally I do. I'll have to if I'm waiting, 4 days. Good, my brush is just going to pot here. If I wait that long to record, I'll probably have to make notes. And then I'll hello Jay. Weekly weekend video. Anything extra be a bonus? Yeah, they're not. It's just very clunky. So yeah, Sunday play, Thursday record. That means that from the Thursday recording, then that evening, Friday evening, Saturday evening, Sunday evening, once the boys are in bed, Monday is my day off, so much of that day. And that evening, every other week I have that evening as well. And Tuesday, all to edit. So I record the next week's. And if I'm trying to get it out for the patrons on Thursday, then I'm recording Thursday, and then that night I am posting last week's recording, if you follow me. So it works out. I'll see if I can keep up the pace. I mean, right now we're in Lent. Holy Week, I'm going to have to beg off. I mean, there's no way. It's too busy. It's too busy. I'll be able to record, but I think in Holy Week, I'd rather be concentrating on the holy part and less on the D&D part. But once past Holy Week, I'll really ramp it up. I'm going to kind of experiment here in the last week of Lent, the last full week starting this Sunday before Palm Sunday, and then see what it's like. See if I can, if the pace seems manageable, and which means recording tomorrow. Now, because I just decided on this, I don't have anything to record tomorrow in terms of a recap. So tomorrow will be the first time I substitute a crafty video for a recap. This probably makes more sense when you can look at it on a calendar. Me just describing it is probably rather confusing. But at any rate, the point is there's going to be a more regular schedule. Going to try to keep to something like a regular schedule. And again, Grok plotted it out for me. Now, whether I can keep up with a schedule, the computer, a computer has dictated, I don't know. It doesn't have a family or a need to sleep, so it might not be possible. But I'm going to try it at any rate. Well, thank you. I hope to get there. I hope to get there. Now, you know how exciting paint drying is. I am actually going to have to leave you watching it briefly because somebody, Fleetwood, used my painting stuff and took my water jar out of the drawer where I keep everything. So I don't have any way to wash this off at the table. I'll be right back. In the meantime, I give you paint drying. Enjoy. Okay. Top tier content. Woo woo. Well, I am John. So are you going to? Because that would be fabulous. And yeah, is there anyone else who's heading to GriffCon? You'll notice I didn't paint that because I am going to do something very different. Quick, make a short of this. That'll be the short. That'll be the short. Me saying, because you can't though, because the screen is cut like this. You can't move it around either. It's one of the other bugaboos of it. You can't move the frame around. Well, I could just do this because you can hear me talking. And now watch paint drying. And then it just sits there for a minute. You can actually make them up to 3 minutes long now, which I don't know if that's a short, but anyway, I'll just do like a 30-second one or something. Just paint drying. Nothing but paint dry. Pardon me. Now you know that you are, you're tired. I'm not now. I'm actually very good. I got a good night's sleep last night. But you're tired. I've done this when you're painting and you start to, don't drink your brush water. If I could carpool, I would go. So your question was not simply one of curiosity, but also of hope. Well, I tell you what, John, if you wanted to get on the go, I don't know what the return go would be like. But if you wanted to get on a go and come here Friday evening, there's a station a block away from our house. You could go in with me for the Friday evening. I'm going to stay probably till about 11. If you want to look up, because I've got everything going on with it, if you want to look up the go schedule from the Acton station back into Toronto, I know there are later trains. I know they do move later times. So I'd be happy to give you a ride in because I'm just going in going to go in the Friday. I may go in the Saturday morning. But you know what? The other way to dry it is to, with a dry brush, just go over it again. As long as the coverage is there, you don't need pools of paint sitting on top of it, right? My painting technique tends to be rather just slop it on. There's a great benefit, I will say, a great benefit of craft painting is it dries wicked fast. I've never seen a paint dry quite as fast as this Art Deco, I think is the brand. It's pretty quick. That's getting there. Flowing air helps. No ceiling fan here. There was one in the master bedroom, but then we had a third child, and the master bedroom became the children's bedroom because we couldn't fit 3 beds in the bedroom designated the kids' room. We could have if we not bothered to give them any floor space, if there was like an alleyway between 2 bunk beds or something, or a 1 bunk bed and 1 bed. But no, we didn't do that. Now they all have lofted beds, and then they have the space underneath it. There's not a lot of floor space, and what is there is covered in Legos and books, and so many books. Fleetwood is a voracious reader. Not helpful at all. Not helpful at all for drawing things. Fleetwood's a voracious reader, and the other two are big readers too. I don't think much can compare to the sheer volume that Fleetwood gets through. He's insane about it. But the thing is, he'll finish a book, and then like wherever he finishes it, he sets it down. It's like a snake skin. He's done with it. He sheds it and moves on with his life. And so there's books everywhere. You can tell, you like following a breadcrumb trail. This is where Fleetwood has been reading. Oh, he curled up in this chair. There's 3 books here. Then he went over there. There's 2 of them over there. Oh, there's 1 here. He must have spent some time in the washroom because there's a book in there as well. And of course, I don't know how far he's gotten through any of them, because if he's read a book before, he'll come back. They're much easier to step on in general, and you do less damage to yourself and to the thing. But if he's read a book before, he'll pick it up again just to read a favorite part. So I don't know. Is he back to it? Is he in the middle of it? Should I put it back on the shelf? Does he gonna know where it is? And I'm always riding him about picking the things up, and then he goes around picking up books. I'm like, of all the problems to have, I'll take it. My 15-year-old leaves books everywhere. If that's the worst that happens, I'm fine with that. But it is annoying. It is annoying. But we have so many books in this house, and the one behind me is chock-a-block. And actually, we've thrown out a whole bunch of books. Not thrown out. We gave away a whole bunch of books. But then there's another bookshelf almost as big for just the boys' books in the other room, which I built myself, and I built these too, I guess. I was very proud of them. Good lad indeed. Yeah, it is good that they're readers. I have to say, you've all probably heard me complain about Fleetwood's English class more times than needs to happen. So I won't do it again, but it's such a waste. It's like they could have been introducing him to, but no. Oh well, doesn't matter. Let it go. So there we are. Okay. That thing. So this is going to be a sort of crystal shard. I don't know if I want black under it. I actually think I'm going to put white or yellow under it, so that it kind of, if I put gold under it, If I put gold under it, do you think a subsequent layer, I could make it thin enough that the gold would slightly, I'm going to try. It's just foam. If it doesn't work, I'll slap paint over it and redo it. Oh, you can hear in my dulcet tones, I'm still wrestling with this cold. Anyone who's had it is going to know it's wretched, just wretched. Just not fun at all. Shoot, I like, Rob, I like when YouTube doesn't notify you, until the last minute or after the fact. And then it says, now on YouTube. That's what I was hoping, Carl. That's what I was hoping. I mean, it's just gold paint, so it's not gold. It's not actually, doesn't have much glimmer in it. But I have a few other ideas I might put into place on this. Now I have to be kind of careful because I don't want to get gold on the ground. You don't want to throw your gold on the ground. You want to keep it mostly in a vault. A safe of some kind. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Hello, Fernando. How are things with you? And how is the family? Fernando is a relatively recent add to the Dad Club. You getting any sleep? Are you getting any sleep? That's the question everyone asks, right? We had on Sunday, there's a little boy, the whole family comes. The boy doesn't come on his own. He's 5. But it's an adorable family, and they're all lovely. They come to the early service. They weren't there, though, this Sunday. But another family came, sat in the exact same spot, had the exact same assortment of kids. Eldest child a boy, middle one a girl, and then a little girl as well. A little girl as well, like infant, a babe in arms. And so it was like, one family one family's absent, the other family shows up. But they were just adorable. Just adorable. And then at the 10:30, I know when I do this, you probably can't see anything. I'm not holding it high enough to be in this camera and not low enough to be in that one. How obnoxious. One day I'll actually figure out my actual workflow for painting, and I'll put a camera there. It's okay to be a bit messy around it. Excess usually looks like a little reflection. Oh, that's good, girl. Well, this is the thing, Grumpy. I wish they would do the classics. They're not doing the classics. They've dropped them, and they're reading graphic novels, which there's nothing wrong with graphic novels, but come on. And the other thing is that there doesn't seem to be any flexibility, because Fleetwood roared through the graphic novel like they gave it to him in class. By the end of class, he'd finished. I mean, it wasn't a huge, thick one. It wasn't like The Watchmen or something. That would be funny to give children, even 9th graders, like maybe a little intense. But he'd finished it by the end of the period, and then there was nothing else. Now, when I hate the whole, when I was a kid, but hey, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, no, they're not, because you don't, there's pictures, so you don't have to do the imaginative work. Anyway, see, here I am complaining about his class again. It's been my favorite hobby horse the last month or two. But when I was in high school, I read really fast, and we had to do Tom Sawyer or something, and I burned through it. I had read it years previous. This was 10th grade, I want to say, 9th or 10th grade, and I had read it when I was like 10 or 11. So I reread it, burned through it. And so the teacher said, well, Aaron, you're finished your book. Why don't we give you something else to read? Right. And I'm like, yeah. So she suggested other things. And I ended up reading Of Human Bondage. I mean, how many 9th graders are reading Somerset Maugham? I mean, but I really enjoyed it. It was a good book. And it got me into a whole other string of his work and other people's. You know what though, Grumpy? I actually did. I did get. I picked up an old. I still have it. I still have it. Here it is. This ancient copy, right? I mean, library tape on the binding, and okay, I don't know if this is going to show up. It's so pretentious what I put in here as a little kid. I mean, come on. Like, how pretentious was I? I must have read this, though. I wouldn't have been any older than 13 when I read it. Okay. And I read it, and I know I didn't understand the politics, but you know what? Like, there's, oh gosh, vast chapters where he talks about Napoleon, and you know, it's like in Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he just talks about the sewers. He talks about the sewers in this one too. He's on about the sewers all the time. But you read those and you kind of go, okay, okay. But the story that threads through it, you follow. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. In fact, I later made character sheets for each of the characters. Jean Valjean was a fighter, of course. So was Javert. I think Cosette was an elf. Eponine was a magic user, I want to say. I was there and looked at Kane. Well, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, that was when because I didn't start DMing, I didn't get back into gaming until later in high school, but the musical had come out as well. And I'm like, hey, this is the story from that book I read. Anyway, so, what kind of Mouse? Mouse was one of them. There was a whole bunch of other ones I didn't recognize the titles to. I mean, my attention to comic books. I know this makes me a bad nerd. I'm going to have my nerd card withdrawn, but I don't really pay that much attention to comic books. I read a few when I was a kid. I had a few that I followed. I followed Thor for a while. I followed Daredevil in a very weird period for Daredevil, where there was all sorts of stuff with demons. It was an odd. I mean, it's always been. I mean, it's very. There's a very religious streak through that comic book, a number of comic books, really, but the art was very odd, and I eventually just found it's too much pink and orange. I just can't keep doing this. But I'm not a big comic book person, so my knowledge of graphic novels, Dark Knight Returns, The Watchmen, Mouse, and that's about it. The Killing Joke, is that a graphic novel? Gotham by Gaslight. I used to have that. I don't know what happened to it. That was fun. Well, Grumpy, I don't want to cast aspersions on Quebec, but no, Road March, you're on time. Welcome. Pull up a chair. Tell us what graphic novels you like. Asterix. I don't know it. Treasure Island for adventure. Yeah. Animal House for satire. Jane Austen for romance, and so on. So, yes, you're to a genre. Fleetwood has read both Treasure Island and Animal. I think Animal Farm, I think you mean. Animal House is the movie. I don't know if John Belushi is really. I don't know. Maybe there's a book. Maybe it was a novelization. I don't know. Jane Austen. I don't think he's read any yet. But yeah, actually, in 8th grade, he read Animal Farm, and he read Animal Farm, Lord of the Flies. He read 1984. But I like an idea of a novelization of Animal House and what, I mean, that's about where it is. Jay, you know what? Well, that's it. He's becoming bored. So I've given him my own, I gave him some Robertson Davies. I figured it's good Canadian content. We're all being terribly patriotic up here at the moment. So I gave him some Robertson Davies, Salterton trilogy, you know. There's nothing wrong with Animal House. Maybe in 9th grade there is, though. Just putting that out there, Carl. This looks dry enough. The wall's going to take a while, but this looks dry enough. I can probably make an approach. All right. Base color, I'm going to be relatively boring with that. I'm going to go with the slate gray. Yeah. Slate is, I'm like the sommelier. I'm on focus. It's not going to focus. Trust me, it says slate. He wanted to go into fantasy. Yeah, sorry, all allegory there. All allegory all the time. All allegory all the time. Astonishing book, though. I mean, really, astonishing. He certainly, well, there's a parent teacher. Well, here's part of it, Jay. I didn't clean that, I guess. As Byron said about university, 9th grade. Now, what was it? A young man is never so anxious to be busy. Oh, what was it now? I've lost the quote. At any rate, though, a 9th grader is not so anxious to be busy that he will voluntarily ask his teacher for more work, but he is bored, and he enjoys reading. He really does. Now, what he's doing is filling what he should be doing, academic reading. He's filling it with just coming home and reading Rick Riordan novels and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with Rick Riordan novels for entertainment, but it's not exactly what I'd call an improving book, as Woodhouse would put it. So there is a parent-teacher night coming up, and I am going to be requesting that my son be better challenged, because he's not being challenged now. Love and Rockets, I'd not heard of that. Not heard of it at all. But as I say, not great on the comic books. Just have not kept up with that kind of that particular medium format. Improving reading either. Well, it depends on who wrote it. Barbara Tuchman, excellent historian. I very much enjoyed her stuff. A Distant Mirror, Calamitous History of the 14th Century. That was a good book. And I liked her The First Salute. That was quite good. If you're in an patriotic American mood, the way we're, again, all being terribly patriotic up here. See, that's looking better. I'm doing it off camera again. That's looking better on the sides than it is on the top. The top kind of ended up being kind of blah. Oh, well. I need a bigger desk. I just need more space. What am I going to do? I'm going to put you over here on top of the caps of the the paint caps, paint bottle caps. Hello, Wheeling Dragon. Hello. Well, thank you, Carl. It's early days. Oh, that's too much. I should have gotten a little drier. I try to do the first brush. I always want to leave some black, right? Because it's good to have it on there. I try to do I have never done a dark wash afterward. I've never done a dark wash afterward. I just try to keep it from getting too light to start with. Even in the dry brush, I go real dry with my dry brushing, so my terrain doesn't end up ever needing a dark wash afterward. Unless I screw up, and then I just go over with the original color and kind of redo it, frankly. There. I'm trying to do a little, not too obvious of brush strokes either. And once I've used a bit up, then I can come to the top. I did texture the top, but it's not looking terribly textured. Actually, it is looking terribly textured. Like I did a terrible job. Oh, well. This was, if you recall, this is inspired by Zelazny's The Chronicles of Amber. And these are the steps that lead to the Moon City, with the name I can never remember. Somebody remembered it last time when I was building this in the live stream when I built this. Someone remembered it, and I'm like, you had to have gone back to your book. And I don't think he did. I think he just had it in his head. Because I have very, very, very smart viewers who have deep and rich cultural knowledge. And you want deep and rich cultural knowledge, by the way. Go check out Grumpy Old Slans. If you're not subscribed to Grumpy Old Slans channel already, and Rabovsky's, pardon me, go check him out. Slan, I don't know where you find the stuff you read on your channel. It's fabulous. He's done reads of old weird tales magazines, poetry, poems of what was the Lord Dunsinay's things, all sorts of obscure and wonderful stuff. But Paul Carell, and earlier I saw Stefan Zweig. They're both I like recommendations. I hope I clicked save the chat. I don't know if I did. I hope I did, because I want to be able to go back. I think I did. I think I'll be able to see it. Okay. All right. Now this platform is going to be a different species of stone. It's going to be a different species of stone. I don't want it to be jarringly different, but I do want it to be different. So, wonder if Storm Cloud Gray would be too light. Might be. That's more slate. I don't need more slate. Okay, folks. Here's the question. Do I go with slate, not slate, with a Storm Cloud Gray, which is just a light gray, a lighter gray, or do I go with Country Maple? Country Maple is a lovely color. It would provide real contrast. It wouldn't be much lighter. It's in the same sort of brightness range. It's a deeper color, but it would certainly stand out for being brown. What do you think? I'm taking a poll. Taking a poll. I'm going to cough off screen now. Dude, heavens. Put down slate on this pad and then do Storm Cloud or Country Maple on top. Maybe. Maple is muddier, dirtish. It's a sort of a warm color. This would be like a slab, so it would actually be less muddy. Maybe I could put maple over the slate. I'm actually planning on flocking most around the slate, so I probably should put some dirt down. Maple. Should I be adventurous? Yes. Because now I'm thinking I should put blotches of brown, just brown, plain old brown, and then I'll do maple here. Okay. I'm going to possibly screw up all of the slate that I just did. Or I can't because there's no brown left. Oh, there's some brown. Don't need much. Oh, there's one already. I guess there'll be one there. Clinging to the top, I'll have to do some maple on the... I have to put some maple on the... on that edge. So that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Or see at all what I'm doing. I'll get it on screen. That's too extreme, so I got to fix that. Got to fix that. I got to get some paint in there too. Good heavens. Paint it. Yeah. Hugo's Conscience. Excellent. Excellent. But you had a whole book of Lord Dunsany, didn't you? Or was that all stuff from Weird Tales and you just put a kind of cover up? Because there was a cover, you had an image of a cover that looked quite different. Lord Dunsany stuff was always peculiar and fun. But the stories, the short stories are great. I love that. And then last night, night before, Slan, you were doing a maze of a maze of mazes. But what publication are those even from? I've never even seen anything like that style. I've seen mazes before, obviously, but it's these very complicated mazes with interesting, very interesting artwork around them, graphic and design and logic puzzles and all sorts of weird stuff in them. They're interesting. All right. Gotta get that out of there. Too much. What am I doing? Somebody stop me. Somebody protect me from myself. I gotta stretch it out or it looks really bad. It looks really bad anyway, but if I stretch it out, it'll look like it was intentionally bad. It'll look like I made a bad choice rather than just an accident. This is how most of my crafting goes, and it's why I don't make a lot of crafting videos, because really my crafting style is that's what I do. And I make that voice every time. Fill that in, will ya? Thanks. Still not looking too bad, I have to say. And I don't know if it's showing up how it's showing on screen. This isn't the greatest camera, but it's my phone, actually. It's the phone I use to record my videos, but it's just too close, I think. But it's not too bad. Yes, you should. That's always fun stuff. That's always fun stuff. French Games Magazine. After you translated them. Like the old Grognard's channel, but he's a bit more second ed focused. Well, you got to have everyone's got their flavor, right? Everyone's got their flavor. Okay. I think it was decided maple for up here. So I'm going to need more maple, but we'll give it okay. Learn your lesson. Don't overdo it. I can be taught. What I like about this is it leaves those gaps of the black, right? It's not wet brush, but it's not dry brush. It's sort of damp brush. I love watching Dirty Basement Train. He's always talking about, I'm looking for about an 80% coverage, maybe an 85. It's always a very specific percentage. It's like, how did you figure that? But anyway. Need to get more dice made. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. I'm glad it looks good to you, Road March. I think it's Rabowski's turn. I think it's its own thing there. Like sitting on the porch chatting. Well, I'm glad, General. I'm glad. I also like actually chatting with you at Claricon. Looking forward to that. I am also looking for DMs for Claricon in case any of you are interested in running games. I know some of you actually already are. But if there's anyone here who is planning to attend Claricon and thinks they could run a game, I would be most interested in hearing from you. Because that's going to be... I've doubled the space. I've doubled the space. I am too, Wheeling. Oh, so you're doing what's it called? You pour it and it hardens. Concrete? No. What's the material, people? Alzheimer's does not run in my family. It gallops. You know what I'm talking about. People use it for craftiness, like making dice. Not resin. Resin? Oh, it is resin. Okay. I thought it was something else. What is the one where you pour the two chemicals together? Is that resin? Am I just drunk? Yes. No. No, I had wine with dinner, but not enough to... Not at my body weight, let me tell you. That's the one good thing about being overweight is I have a lot of alcohol absorption capacity. Epoxy resin. Okay, epoxy resin. Hello, Static Sky TV. Epoxy was the name I had in mind, but it is resin. Epoxy resin, same thing. Epoxy on both your houses. There's a business up here. They do epoxy floor covering, I want to say, that put over your floor. Their truck is always going around, and I always see it, and I'm thinking like, oh, wow, a massive crafting truck. It's just for housing. For doing like garage floors and that kind of thing. Oh, you got a friend in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. How's a friend doing? I hope it's not serious, permanent, and yeah. You spend that time with your wife, Rabowski, and you have a good night as well. See you on the flip side, and do your acquisitions. I want to see it. Hey, Nordic's still hanging around. That's good. You have been uncharacteristically quiet tonight, Nordic. I thought you'd logged off at some point. Let's see. These steps, I do want to, after having washed the black off of this, I do want to cover that brown schmutz up. I want that on the steps. The steps I want to pop. And so going to see what I've got in terms of a green. Green steps, Father. Are you crazy? Yes. Yes, I am. This telemark green is kind of interesting. It's actually more of a bluish green, but I think I'm going to use it. She's doing okay. That's good. Better than yesterday for sure. MRI. Oh, that's good. It's good and it's bad. You know, when something comes back and they don't find any sign of something, it's like, well, at least it's not this. But on the other hand, it's like, well, then what is it? You know, that is I find that with medical stuff, I find that the most frightening is the not knowing what it is. That's very good. That's very good. I hear you. Our local hospital is, I mean, if you've broken your arm, brilliant. They know what to do. Anything much beyond that, they're a little, oh, have you tried leeches? That would be totally, yeah. I'm fine with you sharing stuff, Wheeling, but maybe she would not be. You know, and maybe you wouldn't be. So you go right ahead. You go right ahead. And in fact, the Band-Aid station, that's about it. If you wanted to I don't know if she's that kind of person or you're that kind of person, but I am. So if you wanted to send her name, I'd be happy to add her to our parish prayer list and my own personal prayer list too. Because heaven knows when I've been in tough times, knowing that other people were praying for me felt good. Now I'm looking at that green. I don't like it. But that's not the dried color. You got to look at the cap, the little spots that are left on the cap. That's not going to read. Yeah, it kind of does actually. That's the green I'm talking about for the steps. And I want to do the same thing with, of course, wheeling anytime. Literally. Going to do the same thing with a dry-ish brush on this so I don't get too much on, because I definitely I did all this stonework, leaving cracks and stuff, and I don't want to cover that up. That would cheese me right off to lose that. So I may regret this, but so far so good. Follow the green brick road. Follow the green brick road. Follow the green brick road. So there we go. Wow. It's just too, I don't know what's going on, but you can't see the green at all. It just looks shiny. That's better. That's better. You can see it a little bit. Mold on the steps. Well, moldy steps or whatever is fine. I was going for more of a sort of like, strange stone carved. Maybe if I do it on the sides, it'll help sell that it's stone work rather than mold work. There we are. Warhammer painting, inner voice says water down and layer. Water down and layer. Not a bad idea. I probably won't heed it because listening to good advice is not one of my skills. Know thyself, just knowing myself. Didn't do any stonework on this back, but it was so kind of gnarly to start with that I think it'll be fine. Just kind of stipple it, little dabs. A little dab will do you. Maybe take off the obvious foam schnitzels. I find I am so critical of my own stuff. Castle Grayskull, Dice Tower. Hello, I was raised a poor orc child. That has to be a Steve Martin, The Jerk reference. Is it? Is it? Please tell me it is. Yeah. Well, there it is. We have seen the enemy, and he is us. And these rocks are going to match the steps, like they're leftover building materials or also imbued with the same magic steps are. It's kryptonite. Don't come here, Superman. You'll die. The funky thing is the sort of goofy voices I do, both on the in the recap videos and in things like this, I do them to myself. I do them with when I'm the only person in the room, in the car. Although today I was not doing such happy, friendly things in the car. It was tailgate the priest day, and you know what? If I'm driving too slow, you're gonna tailgate me. Thank you, Carl. I think I did too. Tenet. Tenet becomes Tenet. Well, I if I'm driving too slow, and that's you know what, okay, so fine, whatever. But there's cars in front of me. There's a whole line. Someone up ahead. There was like a truck and was going slow. Good night, Slan. You have a good one. And there's a line of cars in front of me. What am I supposed to do? Why are you tailgating me? You want me to ram into the person in front of us? Like, that's not going to speed up your commute. That's going to close the highway, and we'll all be sitting here waiting for the tow trucks and the ambulances. What are you doing? So I was not making goofy voices today in the car. I was making very angry voices. And the thing is, it was both on the way to work when it was perfectly dry and sunny out, and on the way home when the ice had fallen thick and everyone was crawling along at a snail's pace. I'm like, yeah, I know we're going slow. You might notice the road conditions, and you might notice, again, the car directly in front of me. What do you want me to do? Am I supposed to slam into them? Clearly, I'm still fighting with that person in my head. Let it go, Father, let it go. The best thing is, on the way from, and I actually am considering making another channel just to share things like this. On the way from my house to my work, it's a 2-lane highway, right? And it's kind of hilly, and there's enough crossroads that there's very few places where you have a dashed line. You have a passing zone. Most of it's no passing. And it's busy enough that even when you get to one of the passing zones, 9 times out of 10, there's traffic coming the other way. So you can't pass or you'll head-on collision. So when there's this line of traffic and there's someone up ahead is going slow, and someone comes up on my tail and they want to go fast, right? Again, what are you going to do? But then there's a spot. The road goes around a curve and it splits into a 4-lane highway, 2 in each direction. And invariably, every time, the guy who's on my tail goes roaring around the line. Meanwhile, up ahead, the slow guy has gotten off into the right-hand lane because he knows he's going slow. He sees a line of traffic line. It's grandpa or something, right? He sees a line of traffic line. He'll get to the right-hand lane. So the guy behind me goes roaring around, passes 3, 4, 5 cars, and comes right up on the back of the slow guy. Meanwhile, the rest of us, now out from behind the slow guy, go zooming down the hill. And what happens? Inevitably, the jerk who was tailgating me comes back into my lane and is behind me again. But now it's not enough to go, 10 over, which is 10 clicks over is generally around what people do at least. No, now he's got to go, not 90, he's got to go 120 in this 80 zone, right? It's like, just look, play the long game. Play the long game. The Balrog. I mean, play the long game and look down the field a little. Look down the road a little bit and see, oh, I guess you couldn't go any faster. And I guess making this may suit me in the short term, but it's going to, I'm going to be a loser in the long term because, but isn't that just life? Isn't that just life? I don't know if it's a thing they do there, but when they honk their horns in traffic, it makes them, yeah, well, that's it, right? Like, if you see someone who, and it's an impatient and rude thing even then, but if the light turns green and you see the person's head down in that I'm clearly on my cell phone thing, yeah, then you honk like, hey, wake up there, buddy, let's go. But yeah, you got a whole bunch of traffic and people just blaring on their horns. Like, what do you want them to do? Drive over the cars? Poor Balrog. He's just doing his job, you know. He logged in, punched his card. Oh, gotta scare people out of the caves today. I try to stop them from escaping and stuff. Oh man. Hey Carl. Hey Steve. Carl and was it Lou? Remember the Looney Tunes cartoon with the dog and the sheepdog and the coyote logging in for work? Okay. Now, part of me just wants to leave that gold. Part of me really does. But another part of me doesn't. And it's kind of cool gold. This is a very muted thing. I do have to do light. I do dry brushing over the top to pop out some detail. Then I'm going to do flocking. But this is a very muted set at the moment. So I'm going to dry brush now and try to not kill everything. I don't like to kill all the dark. Just like Bob Ross, don't kill all that darkness that you put down earlier. Those shadows that give you your depth. I don't want to kill all the shadows. Just happy little dry brushing. Happy little dry brush. My hands are a mess. The great thing is if I do crafting on a Saturday night and then I go in the next day and I'm giving people communion and there's paint on my hand, I'm like, oh, nuts. Should have scrubbed that off. Oh, well. This week, we had a visiting priest. Years ago, our parish ran a program called it St. Richard's Bridge. St. Richard of Chichester has this, Sam, thank you, has this prayer. Lord Jesus, friend and master, may I know thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, and follow thee more nearly. And so the idea here was people who were discerning a call to the priesthood, especially younger people, because there's a sort of, it's getting better now, but at the time there was a real crisis of, essentially too many guys my age going into the priesthood, as their second or third career, and not enough younger priests. And it was like, we're doing here is we're stacking the church with people who aren't going to, they're not going to have a long career, right? I mean, I went into the church in my 30s. I've been in it for a while, so they wanted to have more younger people, and the idea was to give them a place to discern a call where they weren't known. Because if you're little Johnny, little Susie, and you're discerning a call to ministry, like it's hard for people to take you seriously. They've seen you in short pants, right? They were in the church when you vomited at Christmas Eve, right? They saw you freak out during the parish Easter egg hunt, right? And knock over 6 other kids to get to the eggs. So it's hard for them to take you seriously. So I thought, we could offer a place for people, younger people who are in discernment, to explore the role and to do some of the things that priests do. Hey, Shadow, how you doing? They'd have a chance to explore that, and in a space where there was no judgment. Like we weren't going to, we weren't reporting to the bishop, well, they did this and they did that. Make your mistakes here, and it worked really well. And one of our discerners came back. He's now a priest. He's a priest down in the States. He came up to visit people, and he actually said mass at the church on Sunday. And I preached because when he was here, he preached quite a bit. It's one of the things like, okay, what's regular preaching like? So they've heard him preach before, but they've never seen him celebrate the mass. So I thought I'd give him this, give him the venue to do that. And it was lovely. It's also nice to just go to mass. I mean, I participated. I was served at altar and everything. And I tipped over the wine. Not after consecration, before it was consecrated. Oh, that's too much. Before it was consecrated, but still. I was serving, and I'm like, getting him the cruets to fill the chalice, and just ham-handed, I knocked over the wine all over the credence cloth, and I had to go and confessio to the altar guild lady. It's like, I'm so sorry, I made a big mess for you. So look, if it's too hard to clean up, I'll just buy another one. Yes, it is a thing, reporting to the bishop. If you are in discernment, in your parish or as a student, the supervising rector at those places actually has a duty to let the bishop know how things went. Because what if you're really good on paper, but you get into the pulpit and you preach rank heresy, or you're really good on paper, but you are horrible with people. You're rude, you're cruel, you're insensitive. You can't have that in the priesthood. Like, it's just not going to fly. So, I mean, after I got in, they imposed that rule. So, yeah, a lot of it is you report on these things. But we want to give them a chance where their bishop from whatever diocese they were from had no idea, and if they did well and we recommended them, then we would give a supporting letter. But we weren't going to trash anyone's, reputation. And that was part of the attraction for people. It's like, this is a place where I can experiment with this. And if it's totally wrong, I'm not failing in front of my peers and my friends at home. So, jokes on the Easter Bunny. I buy my own chocolate dispense with this foolish hunting for it. We're going to do a huge Easter egg hunt at the parish, and my boys are hiding all the eggs. Have I encountered a bishop whose first or surname was Bishop? No, but I have met an organist whose last name was Pope. And I've heard of a Bishop Pope, which seems to me just like, cocky. And I know there's a not in our diocese, but there's a priest whose last name is Priest. Let's see, just gonna scroll up and see happy accidents. Bob Ross, Shadow Hunter. Yeah. And we speak of Shadow, and Shadow shows up. Look at that. Isn't that epic? Spilling the tea. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think the world knows how badly things can go if proper vetting isn't done of the clergy before they're clergy. That's all too well known a problem. And so better to suss things out. And obviously not all problems are of the colossal and tragic nature of that, but it's good to know these things ahead of time. That was probably a mistake. That doesn't look so good. Over here it does. So it's interesting. I don't know. Mostly people don't know, and why would people? Why would anyone who's not in the business don't know what the process of ordination is in various denominations? Sergeant Slaughter. You knew a real Sergeant Slaughter? Priest Sailor. The funny thing is, when I play clerics, I always have a priest in mind, like a colleague. I always have someone in mind. Sometimes it's Father Talmage. Father Talmage was a lovely man. Beard. Not a tall guy, funny for Talmage. And you'd think a mage would be better for tall mage. But wasn't a tall guy, but he was a lovely man. Very, very wise, very gentle. So he's sometimes the image I have in mind. And sometimes it's Father Bundy. Father Bundy was hilarious. Father Bundy was this little old man. He is long since shuffled off this mortal coil and gone to his greater reward, I'm sure. But he was this little old man with big, huge glasses and watery eyes. And he would say the rudest things you've ever heard. I mean, really, really unkind. Not unkind, just true. It's like, oh, hello, Aaron. You've put on weight. You're looking rather fat. Who does that? And then he'd sort of blink and give you this little beatific old man smile. Like he said, you can't blame me. You can't yell at me. I'm a cute little old man. He knew full well what he was doing too. Little turd. He was a lovely guy. Lovely guy. Good priest. Very good priest. I remember once early in my time back to church, because I'd been a atheist for many years, and I'd gone back to church, and I joined the morning and evening prayer at the cathedral. And what would happen is you'd sit down for evening prayer, say, and the officiant, whoever's going to officiate, and it wasn't always the clergy, because morning and evening prayer, there's no sacrament. You don't need a priest to do it. The officiant would take the book of readings, and they were just broken down for the day, and just turn and hand it to somebody. It's like, you're doing a reading, and it was just assumed that if you're coming, you're willing to participate and do some of the lifting. Anyway, the point of all this is, I was fresh back to the church, and I got a reading that included Abinadab, and I don't know what I said, Abinadab. Foggiest idea what this guy's name was. And afterward, Father Bundy comes up to me and says, "It's very well read, Aaron. I'd like to introduce you to my friend Abinadab." Melchizedek or Abinadab, or one of those. It was one of the 17 syllables or 17 letters and 3 syllables. The Cobra Clutch. Oh, that was the Sheik. Remember the Sheik? The Sheik who did the Sheik who did the, or did the Sheik did the pinch on the back of the neck? We're going back to 80s wrestling, aren't we? That's awesome. Favorite depiction of a priest in film is Tim McHenry in Eric the Viking. That was the Claw. It was Baron von Raschke. Yeah, the Claw was Baron von Raschke. And the Sheik, didn't he do a pinch in the back of the... I don't remember. I don't remember it all. Come here, Magoo. Come over here. Come over here. Come here. Here. Dog. No. Here, sit up. Sit. In case anyone hasn't seen Magoo yet, I gotta tip down. There's Magoo. There's Magoo. He was on camera the other night, too. This is Mr. Magoo, otherwise known as Arthur Magoo. Also known as the Goobinator, the Goobiner. And he's got a little white, he's a priest as well. It's got a little white spot right there. That's his collar. The Goobiner. You say hello to the people, or you just want to whine at them? What he's whining about is he wants to go on his nightly walk. He is a good boy. He wants to go on his nightly walk, but it's foul outside. And the reason he wants to go on his nightly walk is, even in bad weather, we go around the block. And when we get home, I give him some treats to get him into his crate for the night. And we get home and he's like prancing. When we go on that walk, I swear, he's from 7 o'clock on, he's so tired. But we go on that walk, he perks right up, boop, 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 and then he gets home and he's all about the treats. Okay, Magoo, I know. Wait a little longer. I just got to put on this. This may be too much. I don't know. Go real light with it, though. I get all worried that it's going to be, it's going to look bad. Like, it's a little foam model. Who cares? If it doesn't look good, I'll just chuck it out. If it looks awful, I'll just chuck it out. It's not that big of a deal. The golden brown that I'm putting on, and I thought it might tie in a little with the gold. I want the gold thing to stand out, so I didn't want to do gold on the surface, but a golden brown might just work. Hello, Dolphin. Iron Sheik did the camel clutch, the cobra clutch. Wow, my clutch is slipping. Ivory paint makes everything better. So does ivory soap. You know, it does. I'll do ivory. You're swearing by the ivory? I'll do ivory on the steps if you're sure. Maybe I should do a light green on the steps. Sherman tank. Cool. You know, Nordic, my the house I'm in right now, we bought it from an old lady who was 5 million years old. But she and her husband bought it in 1955. And we found in the house, we found a number of items that indicate he was in the Italian campaign, including a banner from it was an Italian leisure club for men, and you'd kind of go hiking and camping and doing sports and stuff, and while you were there, there'd be, you know, oh, let's have a bottle of wine and some lunch and let's talk about fascism, shall we? You know, it was just the indoctrination thing with this. I don't actually have ivory, but I have cream. Get on top. Probably close enough, he says. Yeah, the indoctrination camp. So anyway, clearly a war trophy. This guy brought home, Frank Turner brought home this flag for this Italian fascist leisure club. Weirdest thing. Okay, I want to go very light with this. Oh, too heavy. Too heavy. Just a little bit. His name was Frank Turner. Now, it wasn't T-U-R, it was T-O-U-R-N-E-R. So Turner. Anyway. A sniper, wow. Muddy business, the Italian campaign. Muddy, awful business. But when we toured the house, she was no longer living here. She was in a retirement home or nursing home. But she clearly had lived on the main floor for many years. The upstairs was untouched. It was this Palermo Fascist Club. It was this time capsule, and there was like, you know, uniforms hanging in the closets. Like, how long? But then I found out he died in the 70s. So they didn't have any kids. So they didn't. So we actually bought it from the godson was who handled the sale. But okay, buddy, just wait, please. I know I don't want him to poop on the rug either, so I do have to go soon. What time is it? Well, yeah, 11:30. This is generally about when we go, and generally we go on the walk. The walk loosens him up and he poops, and then it's time for bed. That actually is looking pretty good. I'm going to call it there. I will flock this eventually. But bombed Monte Cassino and the Germans are not even there. Till it was bombed out. Plenty of it. I do have to walk the goodest dog, or our dog. He's not the goodest, but he's not the worst either. Thank you, Dolphin. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to see if I can turn this way to give you a more realistic picture of what this looks like, because there's just too much light on it. Now there's too much light on me. Why don't I just turn it off? Oh, turn it to... Well, there we go. So that's a little difficult to see with the lighting as it is in here. Maybe if I name light. Yeah. Anyway, it's not looking bad. I'm going to do some patches of grass here and there, put some tufts. Thank you for coming, Carl. You have a good night. Good night to you. I was raised a poor orc child. Did you find your special purpose, though? That's the question, orc child. And thank you very much, Static. Thank you. Thank you, Nordic. Thanks, everyone. And have a good night, all. I will be seeing you with a live stream, another crafting live stream, probably picking up where this is left off and getting some color on this wall unit. In 2 weeks' time, the first and third Wednesdays are going to be crafty live streams. So, hey, Wheeling, don't worry about it. I'm slow too, and I have no such excuse. Anyway, God bless you all. Have a good night. Thanks for dropping by. Bye-bye.